Morning, class. Today we're going to talk about math. We're going to talk about a part of math that is called estimating. You know what estimating is? If you don't know, let me tell you, estimating is when you're making a guess, but not just a guess, you're making an educated guess. For example, let's look at this box of Q-tips. Can somebody tell me how many Q-tips are in this box? Bernice, how many?
Mr. A, 500.
Yes, you are right. The box says it's 500 Q-tips in the box. Now, can somebody tell me, can y'all see if this box is full or if it's missing any of them? Okay, Tony?
Missing some of them.
Okay, yeah, it's missing some of them. Now, would you say the box has closer to 250 or closer to 500?
500.
Yeah, we can say it has more than half of them. So the number that is in this box is closer to 500. So this estimating is going to help us when we're trying to guess a number. For example, the number of Q-tips in the box without having to count them. It's not going to be exact, but it's going to be a good guess, a good estimation of the Q-tips which are in the box. Now, what happens when we have to add very big numbers? And maybe we don't have the time to really add them and see exactly what they are. Well, we can do the same thing that we did with the boxes. We can estimate, we can guess the amount that we get if we add all the numbers. Now, there's a few steps that we need to do prior to estimating what the addition of these three numbers are. And I have them written down. If you please write them down. First, we're going to look at the numbers of the 10,000s place. For example, in this first edition that I have right now, the first three numbers on the 10,000s place is the 3, the 4, and the 2. On the second edition that I have right now is the 3, the 4, and the 1. So as a first step, we're going to look at the first three numbers. Now, the next step is we're going to write them down. You guys are going to take out your books and your pencils, and you're going to write down the 3, the 4, and the 2. And then on a separate line, I need you to write down the 3, the 4, and the 1. So the third step is we're going to add those digits together. So we're going to add 3, 4, and 2. And we're going to then add 3, 4, and 1. Now, once we add them up, we are going to fill in with zeros the numbers of the thousands, the hundreds, the tens, and the ones, and that's going to be our estimated answer. Okay? So, for example, first, like I said, we're going to look at the first three numbers. We're going to look at 3, 4, and 2. So can somebody tell me what 3 plus 4 is? Bernice?
7.
7, okay. And then what's 7 plus 2? Tony?
9.
Okay. So we're going to write a 9 over here. Now let's look at the next addition that we have. Can somebody tell me what 3 plus 4 is?
7.
Bernice? You have to raise your hand, honey. Remember, you can't shout out. You can just shout out the answers. Bernice.
7.
Okay, and then can somebody tell me what 7 plus 1 is? Tony.
8.
Okay, so that's an 8. Okay. So remember, the next step is we have to fill in with zeros our thousands, hundreds, tens, and ones. So we're not going to add them up. We're just going to do zeros right here. Zeros in the thousands, in the hundreds, in the tens, and the ones. The same thing here. We're going to do a 0 in the thousands, in the hundreds, in the tens, and the ones. So without having to add all these three big numbers, we can estimate, we can guess that the sum or the addition of these three numbers is 90,000. And the same thing here, without having to add them up. If we didn't have the time, if we didn't have the time to add them up and we had to do it quickly, but we still have to come up with a number that is close to this addition, we can come up with a number of 80,000. So this is how we do estimating. Estimated, remember guys, is an educated guess of a number or an amount of things that we don't maybe have the time to count, but we still gotta have something close to the real amount. So this was the lesson for estimating.